and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We are still waiting on the new 3.9.0 patch, the wider PTU and live builds, but we do have a lot more info on some of the updates that are in that patch now, and some of the features that Cloud Imperium are currently working on for Star Citizen. We also have a load of general Star Citizen news for you as well. So there was a Star Citizen Pillar Talk Alpha 3.9, which was filmed early March 2020, and this contained a load of information about what CIG have got planned for that 3.9 patch, but also a load of the tech that they're currently working on. Long-term persistence is currently being utilized, and it was confirmed that there will not be a persistence reset for 3.9. This means any ships or items that you bought in-game and your Alpha UEC balance that you've accrued will carry over to 3.9.0. However, there were some exploits in that 3.8 branch, and CIG have said that they may individually edit those players' accounts or wipe their progress if they have ridiculous amounts of credits and goods, which they wouldn't have been able to get without doing those sort of exploits. Moving forward, they've said that they want to avoid wipes as much as possible, although they are still going to happen sometimes, or may still happen, I suppose, is the correct thing to say there. This system is fine as a stopgap, this sort of like partial persistence, but they need much more detailed information about items and saving item data in the future for the game. So the iCache or item cache they are working on currently is a database which provides and manages the persistence and details of all player and entity data for Star Citizen. This expands how information on items is stored, including locational information, all at a micro level. This is needed for base building and persistence of objects in games. It's obviously a cornerstone of Star Citizen. Bases and homesteads and little outposts for players to make, build and sort of like maintain are something that Star Citizen is thinking about even now. So these player contributions will help add to a living world, but shorter term, when you leave an object and when they've got the iCache and full persistence in a certain place, so if you put a hula doll in the middle of a desert, it will still be there for quite a long period of time. Eventually the system will clear it up if it's not interacted with for, like, you know, a particular period of time, depending on the importance of a given object. So if it's got value, or if it's a ship or an item or a weapon, then it might have a long-term persistence where it stays there for a month or two. But someone else can turn up and find it, someone else can move it, you can come back for it later. That's the sort of idea here. Server OCS or SOX updates will allow for the iCache to be utilized more efficiently as well, or I suppose it's needed for the iCache in the first place. So we've got the SOX, server-side object container streaming, in-game now, but it needs optimizations and other services to come online so that it's fully engaged. Cloud Imperium aren't happy where sort of server object container streaming is currently optimization-wise, and it needs to be dialed in and all that sort of stuff, but there's generally quite a lot of other networking things that they need to get into the game as well. But this is going to allow for server meshing and full persistence, seamlessly handing over server data between servers without players noticing, and then allowing for magnitudes more players to be on the same mega server. Bam! That's the sort of like start of server meshing, that's static server meshing. Eventually, object containers of any size and sections of space can dynamically be spun up and down as a server based on player population nearby. They have seen big server benefits, with startup times significantly reduced with server-side object container streaming, so that's a big benefit they've seen in the already. 3.9.0 and future patches are planned to be more stable. They want higher quality of life with the gameplay and stability there, so let's see what 3.9 is like. I'm hoping that we don't have the desync, and to help with that, they've got their new rewind time or latency improvements. This sort of stuff's been made. So this is areas of network predicted code used to ensure positions and states are accurate and as close to real time as possible between clients and server. Hopefully with this there and in a good state, we shouldn't see this sort of same desync we were having in 3.8. But we should see animations matching up a bit better, less odd predictions when you get shot. So when you're actually shooting at someone, you will hit them if you've accurately shot at them, is the idea. This is more utilized for the sort of first-person shooter side and animations for players, but you will also need, in the persistent universe at least, high server tick rates for this as well. So Star Marine and Theatres of War will benefit the most in the short term, but if the persistent universe servers are clunky or degrade, they're going to see less than ideal results. But you're still going to see a solid improvement for 3.9.0 in the persistent universe. I mean, even if the servers are degrading, it's just, you know, to really, really be good. they need to get the servers in a much better place. Steps towards more group features and organization gameplay. They've got the unified friends list, which combines the previously separate Spectrum and in-game friends, so that if you add a friend on one, they appear on both in real time. So you can sort of like alt-tab out and add it on the website and it will appear in-game immediately. Deeper VoIP and FOIP integration is planned for the future, as is general updates to get the sort of like friends, groups, gameplay lobbies, all that sort of stuff, organization gameplay into a much better state. Short term, we're going to be able to see if a player's online and add them as friends, all that sort of jazz, but not the exact location yet. In the future, there are plans to be able to see more accurate locations of friends and org mates, but expect things like org tags and filters for your HUD and all that sort of stuff to be conveyed in the future too. And we're going to start to see org and more lobby features and improvements from patch to patch. We've got some quite big player interaction improvements with 3.9, with the player inventory system, player interaction system, the player inventory system stuff, all getting a big update. And now you have access to most of the controls contextually through the inner thought system. So you can hold F down and right click and bam, you've got a radial menu, and then you can set your hotkeys here and interact with your personal inventory. You can interact with whatever is sensible to interact with in your environment. You can eat, drink, emote, use a ship function if you're at an appropriate seat or station, but you'll be able to find all of these controls very easily, and you won't have to ask someone, what's the control for doing this? Or I can't remember how to do this, what's the control for it? You'll actually just be able to go, bam, that's the control. Great, I can find it through the ship's systems function. Bam, I can turn off my power plant. Easy. And then you can set a hotkey for it as well if you want to. Really like the idea of that. I think it's great having a sort of like nested radial menu for it. This actually allows players of all levels to find and access controls. The new weapon attachment UI can also be accessed via the system too, and you can change mods on your weapon in real time now. This will eventually be expanded with animations and infos on mods for the gear that you're putting it on, unifying it with the inspect mode, so you'll literally be able to look around your gear and turn it and that sort of stuff while also modding it. These are steps towards their planned physical inventory system as well, and very much looking forward to that. No more magic bags of holding in the future, but 3.9 is just going to have some steps towards that. New Babbage is the new landing zone in 3.9. Light states change for day and night cycles, with Wally's Bar having like a laser show and a disco at night, for example, but also lights come on for the exteriors of buildings when they're in the dark. Lots of coolness with that new landing zone. They've got the new sort of like ways that they're not going to be restricting your flight paths as much when you're flying around the cities. It's all built with the newest tech that they've got. It looks absolutely fantastic, new Babbage. And they've also built the sort of like 3 moons of microtech as well, and for 3.9 this uses all the new sort of planetary V4 tech that they've got, and the guys that were working on that are now working on another star system, which is exciting. I'm assuming that's going to be Pyro, but it may be others as well. Prisons will be in Star Citizen. In 3.9 we have just the one on the moon of Aberdeen, the Clasher automated prison. It's a punishment and risk for criminals, basically, but also protection for lawful players, and gameplay in its own right for players that are locked up there. They want players to eventually track and capture criminals as part of this and bounty hunting gameplay too. Not for 3.9 so much with extended bounty hunting gameplay, but that sort of stuff will be coming later. But you should see sort of missions to track down criminals that have escaped from prison. There are missions that are associated with sort of like assaulting prison transports, that sort of stuff for 3.9. So some cool stuff there. While in prison, you'll need to earn merits by either being logged on in prison or by mining underneath the prison and then depositing those minables. That will get you merits that you can then use to leave prison once you've accrued a certain amount, which is based on the crimes that you were committed before you got arrested and put in prison. Cloud Imperium and Chris Roberts especially acknowledged that the way they develop is a slow development cycle with constant iteration and testing, which they think will lead to a better end product in the future. And if you want a polished, non-buggy game at this stage, then Star Citizen is certainly not for you yet. It's short term, they see like this rapid iteration cycle, but they spend a lot of time triaging their game and talking about like prioritizations and reprioritizing stuff and moving stuff around. Star Citizen is never getting cancelled, at least that's what they've said, and they're going to keep working on it until it's the best universe simulator. So it's been upgraded from the best damn space sim ever. It's now best universe simulator. Chris Roberts fancies himself as Willy Wonka as well. That's what he said during that video. We do know that the Idris mission, the finale of the Arlington Gang chain of missions, has been pushed back to Alpha 4.0, which is the Q2 2020 patch. That's disappointing. CIG want it to be in a better state, a more epic battle, rather than only like a semi-functional ship that you sort of like have difficulty with. They want it to be a proper epic battle where you've got to get a huge amount of players attacking it to defeat it, and it just wasn't ready for 3.9. The M50 is also seeing a little more of an update than originally expected, and that's also being pushed back to 4.0 with its updates. This Friday, 6 PM UTC, on Star Citizen on Twitch TV, you can see the narrative and lore teams from CIG talking about history and present-day stories behind the universe of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. There might actually be some quite good information there. Obviously, the lore team have quite a high-level view and understanding of what's going on with Star Citizen, and how missions and gameplay and all that sort of stuff will play out is going to be largely based on how the lore team interpret it, or at least in certain situations, I suppose. There's a bit of give and take from both areas, whether it's design saying, maybe we need to change the lore for this, and maybe the lore team going, or actually, we need to change some of the gameplay for this particular bit of lore. But it should be very interesting at Star Citizen Live. Buyback tokens are also now available. They've just been refreshed, allowing you to buy back a previously melted ship with store credit. They refresh again on the 6th of July, and then again after that on the 5th of October. And that's it really for a summary of that Pillar Talk episode and the news so far this week. I'm interested to know, though, are you excited that 3.9's not getting a persistence wipe? I really was expecting it to have a persistence wipe because of those exploits that some players had found. And if CIG can just, I don't even want those sort of like, personally, I don't want those players' accounts to be wiped or anything, although maybe that's a better option, I don't know, but just reducing their credits so it's a reasonable level, I'd sort of like be fine with that. I also want to point out that I haven't used any exploits or anything, and I will be resetting my account fully anyway. Well, it's sort of irrelevant to me, the way I play. I am excited for some of the network updates that we look to be getting this year, building towards server meshing, although I don't think we're getting server meshing, static server meshing in 2020, and maybe early 2021. But there's a load of server updates coming. There's the iCache, there's potential for persistence, all this sort of stuff. And if we have better sort of like FPS gameplay and sort of like latency improvements, that sort of stuff, I'm going to be very happy. But I'm interested to know what you think about all of this. Whatever your thoughts, chuck them in the comments below. For April, we are giving away a Cutlass Black and Star Citizen game package. Just comment on any of my videos made during this month of April to be in for a chance of winning that. I am a shill for a couple of companies, NordVPN and NordPass. If you are looking for a VPN or a password management system, I recommend you check them out. They've got many benefits over free services, and as I'm pretty security conscious, I love those kind of services. Also, there's Shadow. If you are thinking about getting a new gaming rig or upgrading your gaming PC for Star Citizen or whatever, then consider Shadow instead. It is a internet cloud-based subscription service like Stadia, like GeForce Now, but this one gives you access to a full Windows 10 environment which is fully customizable, and that is significantly better in my opinion, allowing you to do a lot more with it. Check out the links below for them, or use the code BoredGamer for discount. Also, if you wish to support the channel further, there is Patreon, there's the YouTube join member button down below. That really helps. This is a community supported channel, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the support that I get. If you want to share these videos, if you want to comment, give feedback, whatever, that is also hugely appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You take care, and I'll see you in the verse.